Welcome back, my friend. Good to see you again. Thank you for being here on my channel. I am Gavin Fish. So glad you're here. On this channel, we like to skip through all the fluff, all the sensationalism, get right into the nitty gritty of true crime. And our method of doing that is reading documents, listening to interviews, watching videos. We do a lot of stuff. And by my count, this is the 72nd video we've done on the Madeline Soto case. And I mean, the reasons why are obvious. First and foremost, this is a horrific crime against a beautiful little girl that did not deserve any of it. Uh, just to give the elevator pitch of what this case is all about, Madeline was a 13-year-old little girl living in Kissimmee, Florida. She lived with her mother, two roommates, and her mother's on-again, off-again boyfriend, a man named Stephen Stearns. Stephen had been away for a little while, came back the night of her birthday party, her 13th birthday party, and the following morning claimed to have dropped her off at school. Of course, we learned from documents and from court proceedings that police believe, and I believe them, that he murdered her and took her and dumped her unceremoniously in a field next to a bunch of bamboo. But before he did that, he spent the previous 5 years essaying her, really abusing her, making her life a hell on earth, and she didn't deserve any of it. And we care about this case because of that. Now, the reason we do so many videos is that this is a case where we get a lot of information. The Ninth District State's Attorney's Office a couple days ago dropped a big file. It's about 8 gigabytes. I went through everything over the last couple of videos. We have been going over those things, including 711 photos. And if you go over to my website, if you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome. Glad you're here. If you go over to my website and click on cases, the site has sped up over the last couple of days, everyone. And then click on Madeline, and it will take you to Madeline's case page. And I have a lot of updating to do on this page, but nevertheless, there's a lot here. Okay, lots of audio interviews, lots of case files that have been released, a whole bunch of photography, crime scene photos, photos of Mr. Stearns, all sorts of stuff. And then the most recent ones are these ones where they thoroughly documented everything in the apartment photographically. So yesterday in part one, this is a part two of probably a three-parter, we listened to the first part of an interview that Jennifer Soto did. Jennifer Soto is Madeline Soto's mother, on again, off again girlfriend of Mr. Stearns. Okay. Jen Soto did an interview on the 28th of February of last year, which to me is a brand new interview. And I know in part one, so many of you said, I've heard this before. I spent a limited amount of time today searching to see if it had been out there before. And I'm not saying it hasn't. I'm just saying I have never heard it. And I've not been able to find it in other places. But I mean, I believe you if you've heard it before. Even if you have, there's so much in here that I think it is worthwhile to have a listen. Before we jump in here, let me refresh the lower third here. On my channel, if you put GF in your comment, I will be able to see your comment. Obviously, I'm able to see super chats and so forth too. So, for example, thank you very much to Georgia Robertson. Thank you. It's going well. Thank you for that super chat. I deeply appreciate it. And then, if you put GF in there, I will see it on my end. And so, hopefully, we're going to have a pretty darn good conversation today as we are listening to part two. Before we really get in, I want to tell you what I've done with this audio, because yesterday I told you that I would spend a little time on it. Okay. there is basically some dead air in the audio once when they're waiting for the Kissimmee police to show up. So for the first part of it, I think, is Orange County detectives asking questions. It might be Osceola now that I say that out loud. I'm not sure. One of the sheriff's office were asking questions. That lasts about 40 minutes. Then there are many minutes of dead air, a little chit chat here and there, not a lot. And then the door opens and the Kissimmee police show up. Okay. So what I've done is I've queued us up to there, and then there is a moment, I don't know that we'll get to it today. We might. There's a moment where there's more dead air, and I think it's because she wants to step out and use the bathroom or talk on the phone. And so I've cut that out, but I've put a little swoosh in there so that we know when it happens. Okay, so I've done that just to shorten the time. The other thing I did is I have augmented this audio just a little bit. I've upped the volume. I've tried to get rid of a little bit of the background noise. I didn't want to overdo it, but we have got a I don't know. We've got cleaned up audio. Let's put it that way. Okay. Here we go. So without further ado, I guess, let's go ahead and get started. I will be going through your comments while this plays, and I just want to make sure that audio is on. It is. Here we go.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Hello, my name is Mark. I work with the Kissimmee Police Department. Okay, great.
Thank you. That's your work phone?
No,
Is that what?
but that's the.
Okay, thank you.
So the reason I am here, or we are here, is because we think when went missing, you live in our city limits. Okay. So that's the reason we got involved now. Okay, do you understand?
Yeah.
All right, so I understand you probably answered a lot of questions and you've got a lot of stuff going on. I am apologizing now. I may ask you the same things that you've already been asked. That's just because I like to hear it for myself. Okay, and I know you've been speaking with her quite a bit, but we want to do what we can to find as soon as possible. Okay, so that's our main focus right now.
Remember, this interview happened. This is not the same interview that happened on March 1st, a couple of hours before Maddie's body was found. This was done on the 28th as she was taken to the sheriff's office to do a press conference. She was separated from Stephen Stearns, and he was being interviewed. He was actually being arrested at that point. So that's what's going on here. Madeline's body has not been found yet. It's really a missing persons case, though they suspect really early on that we are talking about a homicide here. But just remember where we are in time, okay? This is February 28th of 2024. She disappeared on February 26th of 2024.
All right. So, but before I get started, your first name is, right?
Yeah.
And your last name is, what's your telephone number? And you live, is that right? Okay. What apartment number is that?
These are redactions that were done by the authorities.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you, and once again, I apologize. So on Monday, you should have gone to school. Is that right? Okay. So tell me how that morning went. Actually, let's go the night prior.
Okay.
So
night prior, she had a party at my mom's house. I couldn't be there because I was at work.
where do you work at?
Again, another redaction.
Okay.
She had a party. She had a good time. She spent the entire time with my family. Later that evening, around 8:30, my sister dropped her off at my house. and she started getting ready for bed, or doing her nighttime routine, which is take her meds and get in the shower. About 10 minutes after she arrived, Stefan arrived, and he let me know that she was doing what she was supposed to be doing.
Stefan is
My boyfriend.
your boyfriend. Okay.
He arrived. He made sure she was doing what she was needed to be doing. I got home around 10:30 and saw that she was almost ready for bed. I ate. We talked for a little bit. Asked how the party was, to show me her gifts, how everything went, and then she went to bed.
And this is around, you said around 10:30 she went to bed?
Around 11.
11, okay.
At this point, I sent them. We have 2 bedrooms.
I'm sorry, guys, to pause this real quick because this is really self-serving. But Jody, if you go to my website and click the contact, I read all of those. That goes for anybody. If you go to this contact form, you do it by clicking on the little envelope up in the top. You can reach me there. I don't respond to everybody, but I read every single one. So, Jody, that's where you go. Thank you. Let me start this back up.
We're a 4-bedroom townhouse, but there's a bedroom and a guest bedroom.
Okay.
I sent them upstairs to the guest bedroom because I had not slept well the night before. I had forgotten my psychiatric meds and I was feeling off. I was not feeling okay. So when I got home from work, I said, guys, I need a good night's sleep. They all wanted to sleep in my bed, all 3 of us together.
Okay. Is that normal?
Yeah, for us to do that, yeah.
Okay.
When he's not around, he sleeps with me. If he's around, he'll sleep upstairs sometimes in the guest bedroom or with us in our bed. But the 3 of us on my bed is pretty uncomfortable. It's a king, but my child sleeps like a monkey. She just kicks and punches.
Mine are too, I know.
Speaking
Yeah.
in the present tense. my
Chill up on
child
one
sleeps.
side and wake up on the other. It's just, yeah. So I asked them to sleep upstairs that night to give me a good night's sleep. And they said okay, they would. And from what as far as I'm aware, they went upstairs. They went to sleep. I was woken up around, I want to say 8 o'clock in the morning on Monday by Stefan trying to put the leash on the dog to walk him. And I got up to try to help him with it, but Stefan got it and walked him and told me to go back to bed. So I went back to bed.
Okay.
I heard people in the kitchen. I'm not sure exactly who because I do have roommates and they're up at all hours. So I heard somebody in the kitchen. I assumed he was getting ready for school. Left her phone on her nightstand. I know she walked into the kitchen, into her bedroom to get ready and all that because she left her phone on her dresser in her bedroom. And I know she did that while she was getting ready that morning.
Now, what is considered her bedroom? Where?
In the living room.
Okay.
We've got like a little wall partition. And she's got a bedroom in the living room. It's got a bed, a dresser, a desk, and a TV. She doesn't sleep there though. She just hangs out there during the day. That's her space. She'll hang out there. But yeah, she got ready, supposedly, and they were off. They left to school early. I'm not sure what time they left.
What time does her school start, do you know?
She's got to be at school at the latest by 9:28.
What, do you know what time her school starts?
9:28.
Okay.
This is a great
Okay.
comment, Darlene.
From what I was told, he dropped her off somewhere between 8:30 and 8:45, or somewhere along that line, around that time.
And Stefan told you this?
Actually, that timeline might be from like the cameras, the church cameras you guys have told me about, but we don't know if that was really her, so I'm not sure about the timeline anymore. He said he went, I think he had given me a timeline of, he dropped her off somewhere between 8:20 and 8:45, but he's not sure exactly what time.
Okay.
He said they were making good time that morning. He was like super impressed with how quickly she got up, got ready, and was out the door. I know she wanted...
Real quick to answer Emily and anybody wondering, this recording, I just got it a couple days ago. I have never heard this recording before. We hear the same themes. She has said the same things in other recordings, like when they were taking her to the station, when she was in with her lawyer, and the video where she was in the kind of family room style interrogation room. She says the same story over and over. There's small differences here and there, but this one was recorded on the 28th at about 3:49 p.m. is when it started. It was about 2 hours long. Now, if I'm not mistaken, and I am sometimes, but this is at the same time that Stefan is being interrogated, because that was on the 28th. That was on the 28th at 3:43. So Stefan's interview started at 3:43. Jennifer's interview started at 3:49. They've been separated, and that's what we're listening to here. So it's new audio to me, but it's on the second day after Madeline went missing.
To meet up with her friends at school early, and I know
Did she tell you that?
Yeah,
Okay.
and I know she wanted McDonald's early that morning for breakfast, but Stefan said she was asleep in the car for the majority of the car ride, and he kept trying to talk to her and talk her into getting McDonald's, but she kept saying no, just drop me off.
Okay.
So this is where she got dropped off somewhere on the road close to school, and then I don't know what happened to her, but this is what I was being told happened that morning.
Gotcha. And then you went to pick her up after school. Is that right?
Yeah, I left the house at 2:30. School is not let out till 4 o'clock, but it takes me about 20 minutes to drive, 25 minutes, and then I wait that hour outside. I like being the first car in line. I like being the first.
Because it'll take you an hour to get through the line if you don't.
Exactly. So I like being the first parent. I waited that hour and something minutes for 4 o'clock to show. 4:04 is when the bell rings. Waited there until like 4:10, and she didn't come out. That only sounds like a few minutes, but in those few minutes, the cars behind me got full of children. I'm the first in line, so there's cars behind me already picking up their children. They're waiting to get out. So I felt pressured and rushed, so I decided to drive away. I'm like, she's not here, something's wrong. Or maybe I forgot to tell her that I was picking her up. Maybe she just decided to walk to my mom's office. She'll do this sometimes. This is pretty close to the school. So I decided to drive along the path that she would have walked, and I drove to my mom's office, and I asked, has she made it? And they said no. And I said, okay, let me drive the path again and see if I see her along the way. Drive along the path. I park on the road where she would be walking, and I waited there for about 15 minutes and nothing. She didn't appear. At this point, I returned back to the office. She should have been at the office by this point. It's like 4:35. She did not appear. So at this point, I call her best friend, and I asked her best friend, hey, is with you? I don't think I told her I was coming to pick her up, but she's not walking or she's not at school. And she said, no, she never made it to first or second period. And I said, what do you mean she got dropped off? And she's like, she never made it to first or second period. I said, can you please check with your other friends to see if she made it to her other periods? At this point, I start panicking, and I drive back to the school to check her attendance, but the school office had already closed. So
What time was this?
This is around 4:45.
Okay. And the school was closed already? Okay.
I think they closed at like 4:30. I went to the school, I rang the bell, they were closed, nobody was opening the door. So we decided to leave. But I had already emailed one of her teachers. I think when I had spoke to her best friend, I had emailed the teacher. The teacher confirmed that she never made it to his period and never made it to any of her other periods that day. He checked her attendance for the whole day.
This is a great comment. Nicole, one of one. She has zero real emotion. And that is one of the reasons why I think most of us, or many of us, have been so suspicious of her, is that even a day and a half or 2 days after your daughter is missing, one would be still panicked and concerned that their child is missing. To me, it feels more like she knows her child is missing because she knows her daughter is no longer. That's what it feels like to me. Just my opinion. But yeah, it's disturbing how she has no emotion.
When he told me this, I realized something was really wrong. It's truly wrong. And I called. Well, I didn't call. My sister called 911. I started having a panic attack.
And what time is this?
I'm going to say around 4:45, 4:50.
Okay.
And yeah, I called Stefan. I asked Stefan, I'm like, did you drop her off? He said, yeah, why? I'm like, she never made it to school. He's like, what? What do you mean? I'm like, I don't know. Just come to my mom's office. She's not here.
Remember, as she's telling this to the Kissimmee officer, she, like 45 minutes previous, had been told. She had been shown pictures of Stefan Stern's penis and said, do you recognize this penis? Yeah, that's Stefan's. How do you know? Well, the stuff around it, right? Like, and then was told, we have photos. That is a zoomed up picture of a photo or video that we have of Stefan S.A.ing your daughter. So that had just happened within an hour. She supposedly allegedly learned that her daughter had been abused by her boyfriend, and this is the manner in which she speaks. It is so suspicious. It's so hard to get over. And by the way, like not everybody, I often get asked, is she going to face charges? And I wrote a whole blog post about it. You can check it out on my site. Easy to find. There is a case here in Western Pennsylvania that I recently attended the court proceedings, the trial, and it came down to a guilty verdict from the jury after they deliberated for an hour of a dude who murdered a 2-year-old little boy, beat him to death. And the mom was charged. Now, by helping the Commonwealth with their case against her boyfriend, they dropped some serious charges, including involuntary manslaughter. So it's possible that Jennifer could be charged still. It's possible. I feel like if she was going to be charged, it probably would have happened by now. But anyway, that mother did plead guilty, and her sentencing is next month on April 11th. So, it's possible that Jen could face some charges here, and that she's helping the state. All right, let's get back to the recording here.
She's not here. And he drove immediately to the office and then waited with me while we called 911. I was having a panic attack, trying to stay calm, but it was really hard. I think we waited about 3 hours for the police to show up. I think 2 children had gone missing around the same time in a park nearby, so all the cops were answering that call. Eventually a family member went over to the park and spoke to an officer and let him know, hey, there's another missing child, please come take the report. So they followed him and brought him to the office, and then he took down our statements and made the report, and then the process started. They were there for, I'm gonna say 1 to 2 hours, and then it was time to go home.
Okay. So ever since then, since the officer took the report, or the deputy took the report, have you been driving around?
I've been staying at home just in case she comes home.
Okay.
my family, I have a huge family. They've been driving around. They've been walking the walking path behind the school. They've been handing out. They've handed out like 1,000 flyers already. They're the ones who contacted the news.
Has she gone missing before?
Never.
She never ran away, even if it's for a couple hours or anything like that? Okay. So when you physically or talked to her, it was the night before.
Yes.
Is that right? Okay. And how was she then? What was her demeanor?
Happy. She had the best party. She loved her presents, her gifts. She had a lot of money. So she was showing me all that.
I think the friend said that Maddie was angry that she didn't get enough. So, yeah, that feels, at least there's contradictory testimonies.
Okay. So, how was her sleeping habits? I know you said she was up and at 'em in the morning. Is she, because some kids like to sleep all day, some kids get up and then they're ready to go. What's she like?
So when she sleeps with me and I have to wake her up, she's difficult. She'll snooze 3-4 times. We'll hit the alarm a few times, let it ring, and then go back to sleep, and then let it ring, and then go back to sleep. When it's her waking up herself and she sets her own alarms on her phone, which is what I think she did that morning, she usually gets up pretty quickly. She doesn't snooze. She'll get up, she'll immediately go do what she needs to do, and then she'll either lay back down in bed and snooze until it's time to go, or yeah, just be ready to go.
Do you take her to school?
Yeah,
Okay. And when you take her to school, where do you drop her off at?
at the school.
Okay, so you pull in through the line and drop her off at the front and stuff like
Yeah.
that. When she goes to school, when you take her to school, is she talkative in the car, or what does she do on the way there?
Not really.
This is a valid comment. Antisocial 64. Antidepressants mess with your emotions, and she was on all sorts of medications to deal with her mental health crisis. That is true. It's still suspicious to me, though. I appreciate you, extending a little like reality here. It's very easy for us to hop on the bandwagon of, oh, she's so guilty, she's so guilty, she's so guilty. And I'm putting myself in that too. There are other circumstances that could account for her behavior. I think, though, in defense of the other point of view, that taken in totality, all of the weirdness, all of it, it makes all of it suspicious, I guess. That's where I've landed. And in the beginning, Antisocial 64, and I love that, antisocial. In the beginning, I was on the fence. I waffled back and forth. You can go back and watch the videos. I was a real waffler about it. These days, I'm more of the opinion that Jennifer had something to do with it.
She'll be on her phone. We'll listen to the radio station, or listen to some Taylor Swift. Yeah, she's pretty quiet. She'll be snoozing, sleeping. Yeah.
Okay. So going back to Stefan, was Stefan at the party?
No.
No. Okay.
He was traveling from Northport, Florida to
Where's Northport?
Sarasota County.
Oh, okay. And he got here when?
So if she got dropped off around 9:30, 8:30, he probably showed up around 8:45.
Did you know he was coming?
Mr. Non 4700, I believe so. Yes.
Okay. So you guys hang out? What did you guys do that night? Okay.
Yeah. What did we do that night? I only spent about 30 minutes with them because I had to go to sleep. I had to take my meds and go to sleep. And I know that they need to go to sleep because they have to go to school, or she had to go to school. I usually like making bedtime around 10:30. So when I got there and she was still up, I understood why she was still up. She was waiting for me and wanted to show me all her presents and stuff. But by 11, I was just like, you guys need to go to bed. It's late. Like, it's super late.
3D time. I don't know that it's ever been confirmed, but I mean, police would be zeroing in on it if they hadn't been able to confirm those kinds of things. I don't know in the reports if it shows that Jen was there on time at the time she said she was or not.
Sorry, Arielka's Susie.
Is it normal if he comes to see you that he wouldn't sleep with you, or?
Yes, it's normal for him to sleep upstairs in the guest bedroom.
Okay. What makes it different from when he sleeps with you or the three of you or upstairs by himself?
It all depends on the circumstance of what's going on. For the most part,
Not
if
that I've
it's a
heard.
school week and me have to go to school, I send him upstairs because I know that my alarms are going to go off multiple times super early in the morning and I don't want to wake him up. And it's difficult to wake up, so I have to constantly be talking to her, shaking her. So I, for the most part, it's me in the bed downstairs and he goes upstairs.
What made it different that night?
I hadn't
For
catch that.
The fact that I forgot my bipolar meds Saturday night
Mm-hmm.
and I was not acting normal Sunday. And I realized Sunday night, oh my God, I forgot my meds Saturday night, which is why I've been so freaking weird today. I'm like, I need to take these meds and I need to sleep. I need like a good night's sleep. I can't wake up early in the morning. I can't take her. I can't do any of that. Like, I need you to do it. That's primarily the reason I told him to come from Northport, Florida to help me was this week because of training at work. I needed.
I am just not buying that. I am just not buying that story at all. She had like a Botox appointment that day. It wasn't an early day. It's just, I don't buy this part of her story, not in the least.
I needed help. I needed support. So I invited him up to help me with that.
How long have you guys been together?
On and off for a total of 7 years.
Okay. Did you work on Monday?
No, I was off.
And he
You're off,
zeroes in
okay.
on that. So what?
So Monday during the day, what would you do throughout the day?
I had a blood work appointment at 10:15, 10:30. That took a little while to be seen. Then,
Stephen go with you?
no. He was not home. He had not gotten home by the time I left.
Do you remember what time you left?
Around, I think, 9:30.
And where was your blood work at?
About 15 minutes away.
Which way? Towards Kissimmee or Orlando?
Towards Orlando. It's on the border of Kissimmee, Orlando. It's in the Loop. It's across the street from the Loop. There's a doctor plaza there. There's a LabCorp there. So I went to LabCorp and I got blood work done.
Okay.
Waited there for a while. Then I must have gotten home sometime between, I want to say 11:15, 11:30, something like that, or from 11 to 11:30 sometime. And he was there. But before that, while I was at my blood work appointment, he actually called me. He said, "Hey, I'm so sorry. I left my phone at home. I was running some errands. We did great this morning. We made super great time. She got ready super fast. We left super early. I offered her McDonald's multiple times, but she refused. So she asked to be dropped off early. And so he did.
Does she ever go to school? Does she ever ask to go? Because sometimes kids don't want to go to school, period. Is
Yeah.
it normal for her to ask to be dropped off early?
Yes, sometimes.
Okay.
She's asked me multiple times to ask her to drop her off early. She wants to meet up with her friends, or she wants to get there earlier and earlier, just to meet up with her friends.
But you still drop her off at the school?
Yes.
Okay. So she hangs out with her friends within the school?
Yes.
Okay.
The only reason I think he did not take her to school directly that morning is because she has voiced multiple times, "Hey, is Stefan taking me to school? Can you please drop me off far away?" She's embarrassed by his car. It's a Cadillac, it's not that old, but to her it's an old hoopty she can't be seen in it. She doesn't want to be seen in it.
Uses the word empty the way he did.
So she's made that comment before. Please drop me off far away. I want to walk. But yeah. When you look at the card, to me, it looks like a normal. It looks old, but
Gotcha. Okay, so what's your and Stefan's relationship like?
so it's a little complicated. I want to say we're on again, off again. When he had moved back down to Northport in December, we were broken up, but we still kissed. We're still affectionate.
Why did you guys break up? If you don't mind me asking.
Because in my eyes, he's very childish. Well, not childish. He's just very sloppy. He's very messy. He doesn't clean up after himself. He doesn't help around the house or contribute. And I felt like I was the only one doing the household chores and the cleaning and the cooking and stuff. And I'm just like, listen, I know I'm disabled and I don't work, but I kind of, it needs to be fair. Like, you need to help me out and be a partner. And I didn't feel like he was being a partner. Yeah, that's pretty much why. There's nothing major happened, anything like that. It's just my feelings of, I was just tired of cleaning up after him and tired of not having the partner that I wanted.
And when you guys got back together, or on and off, as you said, that's been since he's left, or just more recent?
I want to say more recent. We were still kissing while we were broken up and all that. So
Would he come here? Would you go there?
he would come here. He's only been gone for the last 2 months. So he's come here those few times.
Okay. What about your guys' sexual relationship?
I haven't wanted to have sex in a very long time, but that's due to my psychiatric medications. It just completely kills anything down there. It's not enjoyable. It's not fun for me. So I don't have sex. And I think that was a big problem not a big problem, but of course an issue in our relationship.
That's an interesting little kind of nugget of information that Jen is giving there. That, I mean, remember, at this point, she has been made aware that her boyfriend has been SAing her daughter. That's, sometimes, there are things that I latch onto in a case. Like in the Ellen Greenberg case, man. In Ellen's case, what I always come back to is she was stabbed 10 times in the back of the head, right? And in this one right now, I keep coming back to her. She knows, allegedly for the first time, she's been told by police that her boyfriend has been SAing her daughter. And she's having this conversation with this police officer. Yeah, my medication makes it so that I don't really have desire to have sex. Nothing's going on down there, so we're not having sex. Dude, how are you talking about sex when you just an hour ago were told that your daughter was being SA'd by your boyfriend? I keep coming back to that. You have been told that your daughter... How many times do I have to say this? You have been told that your daughter has been SA'd by your boyfriend. And you are still talking like you were never told. And the reason that I keep coming back to that is I believe she, of course, already knew. And, when we were going through the photos the other day, man, that tripod that was in Jennifer's room, that blows me away. Like, okay, was she the videographer here? That's where my mind goes. I'm not saying that she was. I'm just where my mind goes. It's haunting, man. I just, kills me.
Did he ever mention that to you?
What exactly did he mention? I know he had told me he was like, frustrated, I guess.
This sounds like she's making it.
I'm gonna use the word frustrated.
Okay.
But I know he's had sexual relations with other people. But I don't know, other than that. That's whatever he needs to do. Yeah.
Oh, no. Not whatever he needs to do. No. Oh. Jennifer. You know that he's had sexual relations with other people. Yeah. Your daughter is one of them. Whatever he needs to do. Oh my goodness. That is just blowing my mind. Goodness. I don't even know what else to say to that. That kills me.
Well, obviously there's a little bit of, actually, I don't want to get to that yet. Who drives your car?
Primarily
Did you hear
me.
what just happened there? It's like, well, obviously there's we're not going to get there. Let's do other questions first. Oh my, yeah, because he's having in his mind, he has a much better poker face than I do. He has in his mind, what? He had the same reaction that I just had, but he's like, no, keeping it professional. We will come back to that. Don't worry about it. Goodness.
On Monday night, he drove my car.
Monday night when?
After we went to bed, after the cops had been called and all that, he took my car and decided to drive around to see if he could keep searching for her, looking for her, seeing if there was anything that.
What time was that? You remember?
I don't know. I know he took my car and left because when I got into the front seat of the car had been adjusted. And he's like, remember I said I was going to go out? And I'm like, yeah, that's right. You did tell me that you were going to go out. I just don't remember. He never told me what time or anything. But he did mention earlier Monday, I'm going to drive around. I can't just sit at home. I need to be looking for her. And I'm just like, okay, that's fine.
You don't remember if that was in the evening or like sometime before midnight, after midnight?
Oh, before midnight.
Okay.
I go to bed. Mom, comes Monday night. Not sure what time I went to bed Monday night. I want to say before midnight because I had to take my meds and I have to go to sleep. They only work if I take them the right way, my meds. So I have to follow a strict routine with them. Yeah, I'm going to say it was before midnight.
Okay, and then when you got into your car, when you didn't notice that the car was, or the seat was back?
Yesterday, whenever we got kicked out of the house, whenever they told us we couldn't go back in, forensics was coming. Yeah, I got into the car and I was like, oh, the seat's adjusted. I'm like, did you get in it? He's like, yeah, I took a drive last night, remember? I'm like, oh yeah, you did. You told me that.
So Monday night, did you ever come here to the sheriff's office Monday night?
Yeah.
No? Okay. Did Stefan come here
I don't think
that
so.
you know of? Okay. Do you know? Were they talked to here or?
No, they were talked at her mom's.
Jackie, oh no, she has been told. She has been told, and she was told that in the first part that we did yesterday. It was one of the first things in that talk. So what has happened is she's either at Orange County or Osceola County. I think it's Orange County Sheriff's Office. For about 40 minutes, she talks to the sheriff's investigator, and then the investigator goes, you know what, we are going to, a Kissimmee policeman wants to come here and talk to you, and he's probably going to ask you the same questions. So in that first conversation, she was shown a photo, not of Madeline being abused, but of Stefan's unit, his penis, where she was asked to identify it in this interview, and told that he had been abusing Maddie, and she said, "I want to see a photo." So I'm telling you, she has been told here. She hasn't seen a photo yet. That's where we are in this interview.
Place of business originally where they
Thank you for the
did the
super chat.
report. And then we have been in contact with her at her apartment, but that was after the initial report was made.
That was last night.
Yes. Yesterday, the other detective, Frank, responded around 10 o'clock in the morning and started looking at the school. I'm not sure when the initial contact was made with her. I want to say it was like around 11 or 12, right? At your apartment. And we've been in contact with her since then.
Okay. All right. Now, I understand that a detective recently showed you some pictures of not so pleasant things. Okay.
Oh, we're talking about it now.
What was discussed at that point?
They asked me if I recognized the penis.
Here it is.
In one image, I didn't. In the other image, not that I recognized the penis exactly, but I recognized the things around the penis. And
Like what? Clothing or?
clothing and like a pillowcase
Okay.
that was like underneath the penis in the picture. So I recognized that.
Did he explain to you where those images came from?
He said Stefan's phone. Is that correct?
Did he explain to you the content of those pictures?
I'm not sure.
Has she blocked it out already?
Just explain that they were in his phone, that there's evidence that they've been sexually active or doing things since she.
No. That they've been doing things? No. They haven't been doing anything. He has been doing something. She's discussing it as if there is some sort of relationship that would be appropriate, that it's not SA. Hello? No, they haven't been doing anything, madam. He has been doing to her. Oh, you guys are probably like, Gavin, just get on with it, but come on.
What's Stefan's relationship with? You call it. What's their relationship like?
I was gonna say really good. Super great. He treats her like one of his own. He's
No,
always
he
been super
doesn't.
sweet and kind to her. Very accepting, warming, understanding of her because she's got ADHD, so she's kind of a little, I'll say abnormal. In the sense like she doesn't act like a regular kid. But you have to have extra patience and understanding for her. And he does that really well.
And she's not right, from what I understand. When she's around Stefan, does she act any different?
No, she's happy. She's like, hey, how are you? That she doesn't act any differently or weird around him now.
There's no really easy way to ask this, but do you think it's possible that Stefan and her are having a sexual relationship?
By the way,
Before
the police needs to ask it that way. He does not believe that that is what they have. He needs to ask it that way. I think that he knows very well how to do this, and I think that it is proper to ask her using those terms.
those images, I would have said absolutely not. But if you're telling me that on the other side of that penis that they showed me was her with her mouth,
then there's nothing else I can believe that has to be true. But before that evidence, I would have said no.
Has Stefan always been like when you guys communicate and talk, or have you ever caught him in any kind of lies or not being truthful or anything like that?
No.
So he's been honest about everything, as far as you know?
As far as
Wait.
I know, yeah.
No. I'm trying to remember back. Has he always been truthful? Has he ever been caught in a lie? Isn't there another interview where she says, like, he's sneaky? I'm trying to remember. I know his parents have said it, but I think she has too. I can't remember. Help me out, guys.
I've never had to question. If I've had questions, I've had answers. So it was never. I never suspected anything. No.
How long have you been living?
I lived in that house on and off.
Okay, so 13 years, roughly.
But yeah.
So, where else did you live other than that?
For a little while, I moved into my mother's house during COVID.
Where did she live? Okay.
And then during COVID, it was another situation where he got promised to drop down there and it didn't happen. We moved down there, got an apartment, and lived there for somewhere between 6 to 8 months. And then
Moved down where?
I'm sorry, to Port Charlotte, Florida,
Okay.
which is next to Sarasota County. It's in Charlotte County. We moved down to Port Charlotte during the whole COVID, where everyone was quarantining time. We moved during that time and stayed at Port Charlotte.
What about Stefan? How long has Stefan lived in?
I'll say on and off for 7 years or 6 years.
She's
The first year we were dating, we were just, he was still staying at his parents.
Where does his parents live?
At the time, they lived in Winter Garden, Florida, but now they live in Northport, Florida. That's who he lived with down there.
Oh, okay. What about family? Any other family around here?
Who? Him? No. I think he's got distant relatives, but nobody he's ever talked to like that.
That's right.
What about friends, or do you guys have friends? Are all your friends in?
All of his friends are in Northport, Florida. He made a big group of gaming friends down there. He's got some coworkers he talks to here, but no one I've seen him hang out with lately.
Okay. What about you? Are your friends, or?
Sorry. Do you mind stepping up for a second?
Yep. Give me 1 second, okay?
1 second. I'm so sorry. Yeah, no worries.
That is the point that I cut out a bunch of stuff.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Oh shit! Sorry. I'm so sorry. I have a horrible potty mouth.
I just want to make sure you guys understand. That is the moment that I cut out 7 or 8 minutes of just empty time. Okay, just trying to shorten it so that we don't sit here listening to nothing.
So also we were talking about Stefan's relationship with her, and when you and how do you and your daughter communicate? Like if you aren't in the same room,
How do we communicate?
like texts.
No, we speak to each other.
Okay, so you call each other on the phone.
If she's in the same room?
No, if you guys aren't in the same room.
Oh.
Like if she's out with her friends, or you're at work, or.
Call or text, but she's really bad about responding. She'll put her phone on silent or do not disturb. And sometimes she'll respond, sometimes she won't.
Okay. How do you and Stefan normally communicate?
Via Google Meet, which is the video, not FaceTime, but the video chat for Android.
Okay.
We'll video chat pretty much all day.
Okay. Does and Stefan ever talk on the phone?
Yeah.
How do they do that? How do they normally communicate?
Video chat as well.
But when she's on video chat, she's video chatting next to me, and we're all part of the conversation. They never go off on by themselves and have their own conversation. It's always all of us together.
Okay. Do they talk quite a bit? Do you know?
See, well, I'll say yes because we're all in the conversation together, and we stay on the phone for hours together. So yeah, but that's all of us together.
Got it. Normal times of the day. I know kids sometimes are up late at night talking on the phone or anything like that. If Stefan's in Northport at home or with his parents, and you guys are here, and you guys are all talking, is it when normal people talk, or in the early in the morning, or
After school and before bedtime.
okay? Do you know if ever has conversations with Stefan outside of your presence? Like, do they talk on the phone?
It's possible, but if I'm at home, I would know.
Gotcha.
Because she's always in my bedroom. She's hanging out in my bedroom or in her space, but
This is a good question. It's actually a good place to stop because we're about halfway through the remainder here. So tomorrow we will finish up this audio in tomorrow's live stream. Okay. Stoic Dissension says, Gavin, sorry I missed it early. Has she been given any of that immunity at this point of the case? Is this new unreleased audio? No, the immunity came later. I can look to see when that interview was. Give me just a second. Check out my files here. So that interview was with her attorney. Let's see. So that was on April 18th. So it was another not quite 2 months after this interview that she was given that immunity. And there were things that she was given immunity for stuff that she said earlier too, as long as she's kept truthful, right? This, to my knowledge, is new audio, but there are those of you who say that you've heard it before. So I'm just saying, to me, it's new audio because I've never heard this before. But that's where we're going to stop for tonight. And then we'll pick it up tomorrow night. And it's perfect because tomorrow night I need to end a little bit earlier because it looks like I have an appointment at 9 p.m. Eastern. You guys may be interested in that, and I will let you know if it pans out tomorrow. I think it probably will, but that will be our plan. So there are 36 minutes and 33 seconds left in this recording. So hopefully you will come back for that. A couple of last minute kind of housekeeping items. Just a quick reminder, you can always reach out to me on my website, gavinfish.com. Click on this little envelope right here, and that will bring you to this form. I read everything that comes in, though I don't respond to all of it. And then if you click on this little fishy right here, that will take you to the fish tank, and that's where we hang out on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook and you want to hang out with us, please just search the fish tank or click the little fishy icon on gavinfish.com. Remember that you can always find all the things, all the stuff on Maddie's case here on Maddie's case page. Just click cases, then click on Maddie's beautiful face, and that will take you to this page that has not only the videos that I've done, but the entire case file that has come out so far. I'm behind. There are things that I still need to add, but there are lots of photos, lots of documents, and timelines, so forth. So definitely do that. Last thing, if you click on CrimeCod, that will take you over to my full-on true crime website. There are some of you who have volunteered to be writers on CrimeCod that I owe you a training. I'm getting to that this weekend, and I'm sorry that's taken so long, but this weekend I will record that training and get you all set up to do some writing for CrimeCod. I did get a notification that the newsletter sign up was malfunctioning, and I'm going to fix that tonight. So just so you know, that's where we are on that. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. We will be back again 7:30 p.m. Eastern. That's our standard time. Continuing out the remainder of this audio, the new to me audio of Jennifer Soto's interview with the sheriffs and with the Kissimmee Police. Until then, I bid you adieu, and I hope you take care of yourselves. Good night. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.